Welcome everyone to Judy's Creations in Crochet. And today is June the 8th, 2023. And just last week, we had our beginning of June video where I showed the inspiration flower for June, which is a rose. And I had some very positive feedback about the picture for this month. It certainly is very colorful and will give you lots and lots of choices of yarn you can raid from your stash without having to go out and buy anything because of the color options in that picture. But for those of you that are new, welcome to my channel. And I do a monthly cal every month, and it is based on the flower of the month. And I have gotten a picture to show that flower. So we're all working from the same inspiration picture to either crochet or knit, or if you weave or do any other kind of needlecraft, you're welcome to choose the area you work in and make an item to submit me a picture, and then I do kind of a slideshow for everybody to see what you are making. And it's become very popular. I have about 20 different people. Actually, if you take all the different people that have submitted over the past months, I have about 24 different people submitting pictures. But some months, they're busy and they don't have time to do something. So one thing I neglected to mention, which I should have last week, is the deadline date for submitting your pictures. July the 1st, and that is it's a holiday, a national holiday here in Canada. It's actually Canada Day. July the 1st is on a Saturday. So I'm going to need to get your submissions by Wednesday, June the 28th. And when that date gets closer, I'll keep reminding you. I know some people missed it last month, and life happens. We can't do much about that. But this month, June the 28th, a Wednesday, is the final day for sending me your pictures so that I can get the video ready for Saturday, especially since I do a video already on Thursday, and then I'll be doing a second one on Saturday. So I just wanted to do that first of all before we went any further. I wanted to also show this item. I made a mistake last week. This is from Debbie P. in Arizona. Excuse me. She submitted this baby blanket, and I showed the wrong blanket at the time I was talking about Debbie. Debbie is a loyal follower who submits something every month, and I felt bad that I had shown the wrong blanket when I was supposed to be showing her blanket. So please accept my apologies, Debbie. And this is the item that Debbie submitted last month. But I want to welcome any new visitors to my channel, and I hope you will enjoy what you see and hit that subscribe button and come back and see from week to week what I have to offer. And to all my regular viewers who come week after week, I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you. When I started this channel, it was all about showing finished objects because I had a big stockpile of finished objects and nowhere to go with them. And that stockpile is down to 2 and 3, will soon be done. But my other thing was to kind of reach out and become part of the crochet or yarn community. And that to me is the most positive part of doing this YouTube channel, and I certainly enjoy knowing each and every one of you, and that's why I really appreciate your comments, because through your comments, I generally get to know you a little better. And I feel like I have made some friends in this community, and that is the big plus for me in doing the YouTube channel. I don't do it for any monetary gain or anything else like that. I just want to become part of the yarn community and to get to know some of you better. And so please leave me a comment. I love to hear your ideas, your suggestions. Some of you do give me good ideas or suggestions of things to do, or answer my questions when I don't know what to do next. And while we're at it, maybe you notice a slight difference behind me. Kiki has moved up a little bit to survey from a higher point because I wanted to put this. It's actually an earring tree, and of course I had to get one shaped like a cat. And what I am doing here is I am putting, notice how much these are all like? That's because these are all the stitch markers from Arkansas Sock. You know how I get the monthly subscription from them? And every month you get or any order I think you make with them, you get an Arkansas stitch marker, and the colors change and the decoration changes. And then they often give you a second stitch marker in the package, and those are down here. One day I'm sure this will be full, because you know how much I enjoy the Arkansas subscription package, and I will be continuing to get it. It's a bit expensive, but it is one package I feel like splurging on because I enjoy their yarn so much. So I quickly mentioned finished objects. You haven't been seeing much in the way of finished objects lately. This is one that is from my stash. I love these smaller scarves. I call them one skein scarves, because you have, I'm sure you're like me, you have lots of those single skeins that you purchased because they caught your eye, you just love them, you didn't know what you were going to do with it, and you bought it anyway. And then you have the one skein, what are you going to do with it? And as you know, one of my favorite designers is CJ Brady, and she does quite a number of single skein scarves like this. And look at the edging, that as you go you make this edginess. Wow. I quite thoroughly enjoyed this. And as you can see, maybe yeah, you can definitely see all the sparkle in that yarn. I don't know exactly which pattern, I didn't go and check it out, but I will show you. And it starts, at the point here, and it gets bigger as you go, and then it decreases on the other side. And it's just such an easy thing to wear, and it brightens up your outfit. And I have a lot of these in my own personal stash as well, although this is one from my stash of finished objects that I never did get to a craft show to sell them. One day maybe there'll be a good craft show again, and I'll have this available, or I'll find some place where I can sell these. I'm still trying on Facebook. So that's all I have to show you for finished objects. That doesn't mean I haven't been working on things, but most of the things I've been working on are things that I can't show you right now because I'm working on a couple of patterns on a design. I am going to feature a designer at the end, towards the end of the month. So I'm working on a couple items for that. One is on the blocking mat upstairs. I'm also going to start working on my June Cal item. And I'm going to start a test pattern probably tomorrow. So, doing all of these things, but I don't have something to show you right now. But towards the end of the month, I'll have more to show you. What I intend to do today, and I do have an acquisition that has been sitting here a while that I am going to show you later today. But I thought today what I would do is finally show you around the gardens. I've been talking about how busy I am in the gardens lately, and I'm not done by any means. I still have to trim the bushes. They're ready now, probably to be done. I think tomorrow I'll get to trimming the bushes, and I have a little bit of weeding in one area, and then it'll be time to bring in the mulch and spread that around again. But I thought they were far enough along and enough done, and you waited long enough, that I would give you a little bit of tour of the gardens. But before I take you out on the tour, I first of all want to let you know that I was going to tape my whole program outside today. But it got a little bit chillier. It has been nice, but it got chillier, and today is breezy. So a little too breezy to sit outside for the whole thing. I'll just be out there to show you parts of the garden. But before we go out to the garden, I just want to tell you a few things so I don't have to tell it all to you outside. I'm a little afraid if it's too breezy, the noise might be too much. I don't know if you'll hear me or not. I'm going to take a chance. If you can't hear me properly, I'll erase the audio part, and I'll tape over it. So the first thing, I'll tell you very briefly some background, because a lot of you've heard this before. I started back in the end of 2015 and mostly the beginning of 2016 to make myself a hosta garden, because I have a backyard with a large maple tree that has so much shade I can't grow anything much but weeds. And as you know, hostas are a shade-loving plant. And so I got the idea to rip out half of my yard and plant hostas, and I did it in sections. I ripped out one fall and put in maybe a dozen. The next spring they came in and they put in walking flagstones and went around the side and created another garden and flagstones. And the following year we went to my front garden and we extended it and put hostas in there. Now, it seems like a while ago, but hostas are kind of slow growing, most of them. They don't get big real fast. And what some people don't know is that not all of them are huge. When you go down the street and you see hostas in people's yards, they have great big ones that are like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 feet across. But not all hostas are that big. Some are what they call mini hostas or dwarfs. And because I wanted to get, my goal was 200 hostas in my yard, I couldn't put all big ones. And unfortunately, when I planted them, the tree roots, because I have this big maple, but then along the property, the other, my neighbor along the property has planted a whole row of cedar trees that are quite big. They're old. Oh, they've got to be 35 years old. So a lot of roots in my yard, and my hostas were fighting with the roots, and actually some of them couldn't survive. I had to pull them out and plant them in pots. And so that has been the big deal in my yard. Although I have 200 different hostas, and somebody said, I didn't know there were that many. Well, surprise, surprise. There's somewhere, I hear different numbers. I hear 8,000, I hear 10,000. I'm sure there are at least 8,000 and more different varieties, and they're always creating more. A lot of them look very similar, but there are a lot of different varieties, and they start from little wee dwarf ones. I'll show you some. Most of them are called mice, to the great big ones. There's one that's as big as a person. And I do have 200, but I had to get all different sizes and I had to put most of them in pots because I could see that my big ones were decreasing each year, the ones under the tree. I do have some that are larger, and this year some of them came out even larger, and I will show you those, the ones especially in my front yard. I found some sun tolerant ones that are surviving in the front, which is pure sun all morning and part of the afternoon. It's not until the sun gets behind the house that they get shade at the front. So because of the fact that I have so many hostas in pots, I have been forced to take these pots into, well, they should go into a garage. I don't have a garage. I have a carport or a shed. And I take them into the shed. And so right here, I'm going to show you a picture of my shed. I think this was a picture was it just as I finished last fall or just as I opened it up this spring? But this is what my shed looks like once they're all in the shed. And I have over 100 that go in the shed. I have since found out that I can keep the bigger ones, like larger ones, in a section in the backyard altogether and cover it with a tarp so that it protects it from any weather during the winter. I'm in Canada. We do get cold winters, although I'm in the mild part of Canada. And we haven't received a lot of snow in the last couple of years, but the temperatures can get well below freezing at times. But if I keep them protected, they do. And last year I did that for the first time, and they really did well out there. So you see, I have all these pots in the shed. And then I'm going to show you another picture. I take them in the spring as soon as they start popping up. I bring them out and set them on the patio. So I have another picture showing them on the patio before I start, cleaning them up. And some have to be transplanted into bigger pots. And then I carry them out into the yard. And then one other picture I want to show you before we take our trip outside is a couple of weeks ago, I told you I made a run to the local nursery. Well, local, he's an hour away. He's going out of business. He's now out of business. And I went during the 1 week window that he was having a sale this spring before closing his doors. And I had previously showed you the picture of them in my trunk. When I bought them, there were 30 of them, and I believe I have a picture I can put here showing you them sitting on the patio last week. And this past week, I've spent time getting pots, getting dirt, getting them all planted. I do not have big enough pots for all of them. They will eventually have to be transplanted in a couple of years when they get bigger. And that's what I've been busy doing the last couple of weeks. So what I'm going to do now is take you out into the gardens and show you some of the highlights and how this garden developed, so you have an idea of what I have been talking about. So I'm going to shut it off and take you outside, and we'll see you in a minute. Okay, so here we are in the front yard. I'm going to do my best to stay as close to the microphone as possible so you can hear me. This is the front of the house where I showed you the lilacs. The lilacs are now dead. And you can see this is the part of the garden that was extended. And you can see a couple of hostas over there. I'm going to go around to the other side so you can get a better view. And these are probably the largest hostas that I have. So back in front of my air conditioner, we have one called Abadabadoo, and that hosta is the one that comes out the earliest. It's out before anything else, and it actually looks like a bit of a bush before any of them are poking out, and it is a good size. And then we see a little smaller one here, and then we have a couple of really big ones. See, there's one there and one there. And then behind it, here's another dark, dark green one. And then we have this nice, bright two-tone green one. That one is called September Sun. I really, really like that one. Next to what is a weeping redbud bush. So that's how the front garden has been extended, and I have filled it with hostas. I had one other one, but I took it up. It was getting crowded out. So now we'll move around to the side and back. So now I'm going along the side of my house so you can see my patio area. I have a few annuals planted, but here are some larger hostas in pots right here. And along the side of the fence, I have several planted. I'm not going to go down all of those. We'll stick to this other side. Hope I'm not making you dizzy. So these are, I have a step on the other side of this railing to see the door down there. And I really like this one. It always does well. It's called Feng Shui. And another one, I asked them for something unusual, and they gave me this. See all of the ripply leaves and everything in it. And it's called Wee. And another very, very unusual hosta is this one. Now I'm going to insert a picture beside it. Put it up in this upper corner. That is pure white. I got it earlier in the year, but it comes out pure white at the beginning. So sort of like this leaf here. And then it starts to turn through the season, and it gets this lines of green in it. And by, maybe early August, it will be entirely green. And it's called White Feathers. So from my patio, you look into the backyard, and here is the tree I've told you about. And I don't know if you can tell how big it is from all of this, but that tree was planted there in 1980. We dug it up from the home that I grew up in, and that's why I have this tree. It was just a teeny little sprout of a twig at that time. But you see my view from the patio straight out, and all of these pots underneath the tree. And here are what we call dwarf or mini hostas, and they are mice. For instance, this is blue ears mouse. This one is mouse on the moon. This one is royal ears mouse. And finally we have mouse trap. So you see how little they are. They don't get much bigger. And then we have the area over here behind my shed. And this area, it gets sun through the leaves, but that's the only sun that it gets all day. And then all of these, some are bigger, some are smaller. There are a few. You can see one back here. It is in the ground. This one is in the ground, and this one is in the ground, and this one. But most of the rest are in pots. And I have two themed areas. I have a themed area over here, and it has plants like Guardian Angel, Earth Angel, Cup of Grace, Amazing Grace, Praying Hands, Cathedral Windows, Stained Glass, that kind of thing. That's in this area back here, bounded by the stepping stones. And then over on this side, I have another themed garden. See all of the, there's another one that's in the ground. These are all, these little ones in here I just planted the other day. And now we have another themed garden. Again, it has a walkway. This is the back gate going out into the field behind. You see, there's nobody lives behind me. There is a field. And here we have, I'll get my hand, there's Dancing Mouse and Sky Dancer, Dancing Queen, One Last Dance, Celtic Dancer, and First Dance. So you can see that themed garden. And this is from the back side of that tree. And then if we turn around to the far side of my yard, there's the back corner. And there's the far side where they built me in stage 2. They built me another garden along the fence line. And finally, a couple of them are getting larger. This one, for example, should be as larger than these, and it doesn't seem to be getting much bigger. Finally, this one has gotten large, and it has huge, large leaves in it. And another one that's kind of starting to take off. That one is called Christmas Candy. I can't remember all the names of them. They are labeled. Most of them are labeled. And then finally, here's another one. This is under the back of the house. And I really love the colors in this one. The sun is shining on it. But here, if I take a leaf out here, you can see the 3 different tones of color in the leaves. And that's part of a family that are all similar to that. This one is called Snake Eyes, but there are several in the family, like Matahari and Hanky Panky and Playmate, Striptease. They all have, there's another one in that family, but it's not growing as fast. See how they have the 3 different colors. This one is called Kiwi Full Monty. So that's the circuit of the yard. We're back to the patio. And this patio to me is my little piece of heaven on earth. And what I want to do is show you a couple on the fence line. Here's one I love. It's called Emerald Necklace. I love the greens in it. But what I wanted to show you was when I am sitting on my patio, sorry for making you dizzy, I am looking out into the yard and beyond, out beyond my fence line a little ways, there is a bush. The bush is towards the end of my circle, and it is a protected area. The city now owns it. It has walking paths in it. There are a lot of nature paths. A lot of birders go into the area to see the birds. But I think you can see that this is my little piece of heaven on earth. It is so peaceful. I have no backyard neighbors. And behind me, most often, there is a cornfield, and every so often they intersperse it with a pumpkin patch. So not much happening back behind me, which I love, and it was the reason why we purchased here. So that's kind of what my yard looks like. And as you can see, there's a lot of hostas, and it takes a lot of work, upkeep of weeding constantly, and transplanting and so on. So I hope you enjoyed that little bit of a tour of the backyard. We'll go inside now. So here we are back again. I honestly don't know what the volume was like in that. I will definitely look at it when I edit it. And if the volume is a problem, like I said, I'll wipe out the audio portion and retape an audio over top of the video portion. But I can't check it until I'm finished the whole video. So the last thing I wanted to show you is an acquisition that has been waiting for a while. And I'm kind of excited to talk about this particular company because I've made another order from them, and I'll tell you about that after I show you the yarn. So the company I bought this yarn from is called Forbidden Fiber Company. And I will put a link to them in the description box below. And I'm not sure if I haven't had yarn from them before, but I can't be positive. I'm trying to remember where they're located, and I can't remember that either. Anyhow, here's the first yarn I want to show you. I have a sizable order. And it is called Fortitude. And this is 100% superwash merino. And I have to tell you, for 100% superwash, it feels quite nice. And it has 475 yards, so it's a little bit bigger than some skeins. And it's part of their Winter Wonderland Christmas Hickory collection. Now, I've had this, well, probably since about Christmas. So that's one skein I got from them, and I'll tell you why I wanted to show you this and some other information about them in a minute. Quite pretty. As you know, I like pinks and grays, but there's just a tad of green in this one as well. Then next in line, another with green and browns this time. And this one is called Gluttony. Oh, the name, Fortitude is the base. Winter Wonderland is the color name. The base of this is Gluttony Sock because it has 80% merino and 20% nylon, and it has 425 yards. It does look a teensy bit plumper than the last one, but I mean, they're all fingering sock. And the actual color name of this one is Foliage. It's part of the Harvest collection. I really like this. I suspect I'll be doing something with it by itself. A lot of these single skeins, I'll be making a lot of single skein things, unless I can come up with a solid that goes with it. But I think that's really quite pretty, a beautiful fall color. Now, sticking in this sort of theme, but leaving the greens out and putting the browns, well, you know what, there's a bit of a green look to this, but it's mostly, well, I think it's supposed to be a charcoaly, but you know, it's a green color more than it's charcoal. And it is also Gluttony Sock, so it's merino nylon blend, which is my one of my favorites, and then add sparkle, and it is my favorite. And this is called Textbook, but I don't know if I would put these together. I mean, they could match, but they're so close that I don't think I would. I don't think you'd see enough contrast in them to put them together. But very nice yarn. I think the reason I was looking at this company is because I believe Karen Hooley, as you know, I follow her, was doing an interview with the dyers from, I think there are two of them, the dyer from Forbidden Fiber Company. And so I always, generally speaking, I always try out at least one order of the yarn after Karen has spoken with them. And Karen knew them well because they have commissioned Karen to design a pattern to go with some of their kits, you might say, or their special packages. I'll talk about that more in just a minute. So that's how I came to hear about Forbidden Fiber. Now, the next three, I absolutely like. I like these three, but I absolutely love the next three because they are all sparkle. This is their Pride base, and this one's called Friends Don't Lie. And it's not bright, it's more subtle, soft. I really like it. I could put it with a black or charcoal very easily. And it is 70 merino, 20 nylon, and 10 stellina. So it gives up a little bit of the merino to put stellina, and it even has green in it here. And this has 495 yards. That definitely is more, well, it's 113 grams, this skein. Isn't that a really nice, soft, subtle color? And there are a number of colors in there that I could get to put with it. And I'm tempted to actually put a black or charcoal with it. I have two others. The next one, and these are all the same specs, same base. This one's called Wizard Prison. And you know I have to like that. The purples with the blacks, a little bit of blue. And there's a darker blue in here. Denim blue down there. So I absolutely love the colors in this. Yep, I do like it. But I really think I would like to find something to go with it and extend it into a bigger project. And finally, one more oh, did I tell you the name of this? Yeah, Wizard Prison. And this last one is called Practical Magic. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love the colors in that. Nice teal. Teal is getting into my favorite color spectrum. And beautiful purples along with the charcoal. I think these could go together, but I think I would rather do them as two separate things with, look at that really deep purple in there. And the sparkle has taken on the color of the purple here. Down here it's still silvery, but up there it's purple. No, I'd rather make two items and put each of them with something to match them. Aren't they beautiful? I really like this. This one might even be a single skein item. Make myself a scarf. I love it. Now this is average feeling for softness. There is no problem with it, but I have felt softer. Now, why I wanted to tell you about Forbidden Fiber is, you know, I've been looking at advent calendars, and I do believe they do an advent calendar, but I happened to get an email from them recently, and just look at the colors in there. Just right there, it's gorgeous. The purple, the bluish, the teal with the charcoal. I happened to get an email from them, and they put together packages different times of the year. And they are putting out, like an advent calendar, they're putting together a calendar countdown to Halloween. And it has, I'm pretty sure, 13 skeins in it. And it is Halloween inspired, so I have a feeling we'll get a lot of the fall colors with the oranges and the purples and the blacks. I haven't ever seen one they've done before. I wish I had. And when they put together this package, they include a pattern from Karen Hooley. Karen has talked about it in our get-togethers about the fact that she is currently designing a pattern to go with this kit for October. And knowing Karen, a very high likelihood of being a shawl because I love shawls. And with 13 mini skeins, 13 times 20, I mean, that's 2,600 yards. You could probably make 2 shawls out of that. Maybe she's making something else. I don't know, something bigger, but she doesn't do a lot of blankets. So I'm thinking a shawl. And this particular package has an added incentive that it has a number of mystery clues. And I'm not going to tell you any more about it, but I did purchase it for us to open and follow the clues in October. So that's why I wanted to tell. I just bought it in the last, I don't know, couple weeks, this earlier in the month. I wanted to tell you about that coming, and that is from Forbidden Fiber. So if you want to check them out, they obviously have some beautiful colors. When I can find 3 sparkles right off the bat that I absolutely love, and find 3 other non-sparkles that I like enough to order, particularly this one. I really like this one. So you can tell they have some great colors, and I enjoyed that purchase, so I wanted to share it with you. Now, I just want to tell you a couple of things that are coming. Next week, I had a number of people say, oh, you really, really wanted to see my EFA orders, plural, all the ones I made that I had sent to my brother and sister-in-law that I just received. And it was like Christmas when I opened it. I think there was more yarn there than I had anticipated. And you said you wanted to see it. So next week, the highlight of the show is going to be seeing me open and show you all those yarns that I got from EFA during the winter, which didn't get delivered to me until 2 weeks ago. So that's in the works for next week. And the following week, I'm going to do a spotlight on a designer. She is in Ravelry, and her name is Michelle Dunaire, D-U, capital N-A-I-E-R. I haven't received all of her information yet, but she has agreed to participate. So I'm going to be highlighting her in 2 weeks' time. Earlier, we talked about you wanting to know about indie dyers that I like. So I'm going to do some research in the next few weeks, and I probably in July will spend some time showing you, talking about some of my favorite dyers and why I like them so much, and showing you some of the yarn I have from each of those dyers. So a number of things planned, and remember, I'm doing Christmas in July. So I did receive an entire advent calendar after the fact, and we're going to do Christmas in July with that advent calendar when the time comes. So lots of things coming, and pretty soon I'll have a number of finished objects to show you. It's just I haven't been able to show those yet. And I have 2 items made by this designer we're going to talk about later in the month. And I'm going to be at least started on a 3rd one by then, maybe even finished it. We'll see how my time goes. Still busy in the garden, so time is slightly limited, but I am getting a little more time to finish my project. So I hope you found that interesting. I hope you enjoyed seeing my garden. And in the meantime, until we look at all that beautiful yarn I'm going to show you next week, until then, happy hooking.